Hello guys, so today we are going to learn how we can connect Firebase with Flutter. So let's get started. So first of all, you need to open Firebase console. So I've opened my Firebase console. I'm just going to create a new project. So let's say my project name is, let's say, Firebase setup, and let's just continue. We don't need the analytics for this. So I'm just going to create a project, just going to minimize it. Let's just wait for this. Okay, so my project is ready. I'm just going to continue. Okay, so I have this window open. So in here we have two approaches. So the first one is that we can do it manually, like we can go into this Android, give the package name and all. So we're not going to do using this method. We will do it with the automated method. So the automated method is that we go into this Flutter option. So for this we need to install the Firebase CLI. So I'm just going to download the Firebase CLI. So I need it for the for Windows. So you can do that, or you can use the node package manager to basically download it. So I'm just going to go with the node package manager because like it gives us more flexibility as compared to the standalone library. So for that I need to have node in my system. So I'm just going to download it. So we can go with the long term, and we can just download it, paste it in here, save. Okay, so when it's done we need to install it, and after installation we can then use this node to basically go into the download the Firebase CLI. So I'm just going to open it, let the installer, next, install it. So it will download multiple things, so we need to basically wait for it sometimes. Okay, so yeah, we want the chocolately as well, install. So let's just wait for it. So it's gonna take some time. When it's done I'll just resume it. So it's downloading all this required stuff that it needs, so it's going to take some time. It already depends on your internet speed. So when it's done I'll just open it. Okay, so the installation is complete. So if I open my command prompt, so in here I can type node /v. So it's showing me that I have version 18.7.0 installed. Okay, so now what we want to do is that we have installed the Node.js. So now we want to copy this command and paste it in our terminal. So I'm just going to paste it. So it's using the node package manager, and it will install the Firebase CLI. So let's just wait for it. It will take some time based on the speed of your internet. So when it's completed I'll start. Okay, so now you can see that it's completed. So the installation is complete. So I'm just gonna close it, and so now we have the Firebase CLI installed. So the next we want is, I'm just going to reopen my command prompt, and in the command prompt what I want is that I want to basically use the Firebase login. So I'm just going to wait, and yes, I want to allow it. So it will open the default browser. So I have this email, and this is the same email I'm using for the Firebase. So I can just open it, allow it, and I'm logged in successfully. So I can just close this window. We can see that here it shows that I'm logged in successfully. Okay, so I can just clear it. The next thing we want is that our work over here is done, so we can just close it. And now what we want is we want to go into the Firebase setup. So we have done these things. The next thing we want is that we want to activate it. So I'm just going in here, paste the command, press enter. So let's just wait for it. Okay, so it's showing me a warning that it can cause some issue. So you can just copy this and open search for environment variables. This window will open. Go into the environment variables, press edit in the path, add new, and you can just add this. So it's just a warning, so we can just like be sure that it won't happen again. I'll run the command again. It's not necessary, but it's still like we can do it. So I'm just going to close it. Sorry. Okay, so the next thing we want is that we want to copy this command and run it in our terminal in the root of our project. So my project is Firebase setup, so I'm going just in here and paste it in the terminal, run it. Okay, so it's giving me an error. It's because I'm just going to go into the command prompt. Okay, so the error is because that we have just installed the FlutterFireCLI, so the terminal in here doesn't know it because like it was opened before the installation. So what I can do is I can just close it and reopen my VS Code and hope so it works. If it still doesn't work, we need to restart our system so it can run the command. Okay, so I'm just going to close it, copy this command again and paste it in here. Okay, so it's not working, so I guess we will have to restart our PC, and then we will be able to basically get this working. So I'm just going to restart my system and turn it on, run the project again, and I'll just show you. Okay, so I have restarted my system and I'm just going to open my browser. Okay, so in the Flutter we want to copy this command and paste it in here, and now it's working. So it will just configure, and after that we need to do it for Android and iOS. So I'm just going to remove Mac OS and web. You can select it if you want. It will register it by itself, so we don't have to manually do this every time we need to register our app with the Firebase. So it's registering our applications. The Android is done and it's now doing the iOS. So when it's done, it will give us a prompt. Okay, so our applications are successfully registered, and if I open the Firebase, I'm just going to copy these commands because we need it in the main. Okay, so in here what I want is that I want to basically use this initialize. So before doing that, we actually need to have the Firebase core in our app. So what I'm going to do is go into the pubspec.yaml file, and I'll just write Firebase core. You can get the exact version, the specific version from the pub.dev. I'm not doing that. So it's done. And before that, we need to have widgets flutter binding dot ensure initialize. Okay, so now it won't give any error. Without this line, we will get an error. So now to actually run the application, I need to open my emulator. Okay, so my emulator is up and running, and I have ran the application. So it's currently in the phase of Gradle. So when it's done, I'll just restart the app. I'll show the app. So the application is opening. Okay, so it's done. We don't need it. So yeah, app has initialized. In here you can see that okay, so in here we can see that device unlocked, initializing all Firebase APIs for the app. So it means that our app has successful, like our Firebase integration was successful. So yeah, it's fine. Okay, so I will also show you the apps in our Firebase console. So in here we are going to see the applications. Let me just refresh it. Okay, so we can see that we have two applications, Firebase Setup the Android as well as the Firebase Setup iOS. So if you want to make sure more than this, what we can check is that in the app we can see that there is a Google services.json file. This is the same file that we will have to add manually, like if we are doing through the manual way. So in the same way, for the iOS, we can check in the runner that there is an Google services info.ps file. So this is the same file that we will add if we were doing the integration manually. So now we have done it with the FlutterFireCLI. So this is all for now. See you in the next video. Thank you.